Most beautiful sky, I see how you change each day, and each day remain most beautiful sky. I see how you change each day, and each day remain.
Good morning and Happy New Year. Welcome to the First Unitarian Congregation of Ottawa. Thank you for joining us on this first Sunday in 2021. My name is Casey and I'm the board secretary for First Unitarian. If you are new to First U and you would like to learn more about us, please contact us through our email at welcome@firstunitarianottawa.ca. Following the service at 11:30 a.m., please join us for our virtual hospitality hour. You can find the Zoom link on our website at www.firstunitarianottawa.ca or in our email of the weekly newsletter, the EUU. It's more important than ever to sign up to receive the EUU, to check our Facebook page, our web page, for updates and notices, because our calendar is as full as ever. On behalf of the congregation, I'd like to extend a thank you to all those who made our virtual Christmas Eve services and December 27 Zoom services possible. So thank you all readers, singers, musicians, Zoom techs, staff. Again, welcome everyone. Whatever your heritage, whatever your faith, whomever you love, and however you identify, today you are a part of our spiritual community.
Thanks, Casey. Good morning, everyone. My name is Chris, and I'm happy to be your worship associate this morning. As Casey mentioned, please check out the EUU website for information on upcoming events and activities. With the new year, many groups are ready to start right back up again. Also, you can find info in the upcoming EUU and on First U's website for instructions on how to contribute to the upcoming auction. In a moment, we will welcome our minister, the Reverend Patricia Guthmann Haresch, but first, we will hear The Road Not Taken, sung by the Chalice Choir.
Bonjour. Happy 2021. I know that many feel, as I do right now, to say, thank goodness, 2021 has finally arrived. May it be the year of hope that we've been waiting for. Before we light the chalice, I read a New Year's meditation adapted from UU minister, the Reverend Josh Powellek. Now that the holidays draw to their close, now that the lamp oil has lasted beyond all expectations, now that the temple has been cleansed and purified, now that the Yule log has nearly burned to ash, now that the sun has begun its slow winter return, now that the angels have sung their good tidings, now that the new year has been warmly welcomed, let's resolve not to rush through our lives, hurried and distracted, but to be fully present to each day, mindful in each activity, attentive to each person. Let us resolve to discern the purpose of our lives and to pursue that purpose with discipline, passion, and courage, not just for ourselves, but for the common good. Let us resolve to stay aware of our connections to larger realities, to other people, to creatures, to the land, to the earth, to the whole of life, to the whole of creation, to all that we hold sacred. And with the music of midwinter still ringing in our ears, let us resolve not only to say what needs to be said, but to do what needs to be done for the sake of building a more just, peaceful, and loving world. Indeed, in this new year, may we bring many gifts to ourselves, to this place and time, to our families, to our chosen families, our communities, and to the world. May it be so.
Chalice, chalice, burning bright, help remind us with your light of how we'd like to live each day, with love and truth helping lead the way.
Over the last couple of years, as I've been with you, I have shared with you as best I can at the beginning of each new year a head-to-toe blessing adapted from my friend and colleague, the Reverend Lisa Bovey-Kemper. So to do this properly, if you like, you may rise as you are able, or if you'd like to sit, that's fine too. And if you see Chris, Chris is going to help lead us through, and I'm also going to speak it through. I think the first thing we need to do is shake off 2020. Just shake it off. Shake it off. Imagine yourself brushing everything negative from 2020 right off you. Shake it away. And then as we go along, you can place your hand as you are comfortable on or by the place of blessing. So if you wish, we can start by placing a hand or both pointing or on your head. May you be blessed with wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. May your reason take you far on your journey this year, and your rationale not fool you. Then if you wish, you can place your hand at your throat. May you be blessed with voice and truth-telling. May you know the joy that comes with sharing your truth, compassionately, and with the deep listening of other voices. Your heart, may your heart be full and blessed with love. If you experience heartbreak, know that your heart is a resilient organ and muscle. May you heed the wisdom of your heart and trust the truth it tells. If you wish, you can place your hands on your belly, so much easier to reach after the holidays. May you be blessed with a satisfied tummy and the ability to help feed others. And if you wish, you can place your hands just under or supporting your belly. May you always retain power over your own being, striving toward mutually fulfilling and just relationship. Your body is sacred and belongs to you alone. May you live into the full expression of your identity, including gender identity as a human being. If you wish, you can point your hands toward your feet. May your feet be blessed, your path solid, and your steps as sure as possible. When you find yourself on rocky terrain, climbing or stumbling, please remember to ask for help, for we have been blessed with company along the way on life's journey. If you wish, you can lift and look at your hands. When you were a baby, your tiny hands may have been your first contact with the world. They catch us when we fall, express love and comfort. May your hands be gentle and strong. May your hands always find the place of greatest need, beginning with yourself. And may you feel held wherever you go. And if you wish, wrap your arms around yourself. May you always remember that you are a whole person, that each of these parts work and rest together. Let them rest sometimes. This year, may you be blessed in all things and carry blessings with you wherever you go. May it be so. And let us sing Another Train, originally by Peter Morton.
Good morning, everyone. This piece is beautiful, but might be a little hard to sing if you're unfamiliar with it. So I invite you to sing along in the chorus, and feel free to sing along with me in the verses or just listen and watch the lyrics. The beginning is now and will always be. You say you've lost your chance and fate brought you defeat, but that means nothing. You look so sad. You've been listening to those who say you've missed your chance. There's another train, there always is. Maybe the next one is yours. Get up and climb aboard another train. You feel you're down, but there's no such thing. Though you're standing on your own breath is king. The beginning is now. Don't turn around. Regrets of bad mistakes will only drain you. There's another train, there always is. Maybe the next one is yours. Get up and climb aboard another train. We crawl in the dark sometimes, we think too much. Then we fill our heads with crazy things that only break our hearts. I know you've seen what the earth can do when it's dragging down another load of worrisome fools. There's another train, there always is. Maybe the next one is yours. Get up and climb aboard another train. I know it's hard when you feel confused. You can crown yourself with fear, and you feel you cannot move. You're building worlds that don't exist. Imagination sometimes plays the worst tricks. There's another train, there always is. Maybe the next one is yours. Get up and climb aboard another train. There's another train, there always is. Maybe the next one is yours. Get up and climb aboard another train.
This is the time when we can send our earnest hopes or wishes, which some people call prayers, to the people we care about. I invite you to think about your relationship with this community and how it can support you in the good times and the not so good. Think about your hopes and your hurts and how sharing them with like-minded people can make you feel. In this seemingly interminable COVID time, it is more difficult to get together with friends and family, but I encourage you to do what you can. Zoom, phone, in person if you can manage it safely, and remember your friends and neighbors. My reading today is called Stay Together and Stick Together by Rod Richards. A heart carved into the trunk of a tree, colored in red. We who gather here in this tender and anxious and confusing time, we have been awash in a sea of information and misinformation and disinformation, and this information that we seek is simply so that we may make wise decisions about how we respond and learn how we hold one another when we can't hold one another, and decide how we can be when we can't be together. What is this we face? How best do we respond? And why is this happening? The why, the why, the why. And why do those who suffer so, suffer most, always suffer most from what we now face? Why? And what can we do for those who are most at risk, most vulnerable, all the time and now again? And how do we respond, and how do we hold one another when we can't hold one another? And how do we stay together and stick together and worship together when we can't be together? Yet here we are, we are here together. At this time, I'd like to recognize joys and sorrows that concern some folks in our congregation. We recognize this by putting stones into water and allowing the ripples to spread out through the universe. A stone of happy congratulations for Roy and Marianne, who celebrated their 60th wedding anniversary in December. A stone of good wishes for Reverend Pat's family friend, Utica Queen, competing in this season of RuPaul's Drag Race that just started on New Year's Day. And certainly for many, a stone of joy that 2020 has passed. I think I'll put a couple in for that one. And a stone of hope for 2021. And one last stone for all the joys and concerns that we hold in our hearts. Please join me in a moment of silence.
Take 10.
Breathe underwater.
I want to tell you a little bit about that video, but before I do, while you were watching the video, I put another stone in the water. Janet had mentioned someone in Quebec who is suffering from COVID. So also during this time, may we think of those who have COVID or the lingering effects besides just our fear. Yes? So yes, Janet, a stone for her. Last March, composer Scott Ordway and choral studies director Nathan Zullinger of Haverford and Bryn Mawr colleges, I think Scott is associated with Hamilton College, they met at a live concert and started talking about a project. As society shifted to safe distancing and going virtual, everything felt inadequate, the choral studies director said. So many things felt like just marking time. The composer and choral director wanted to do something bigger, something that could be cathartic for the students and would connect them with the outside world, something that would be more than a poor substitute for what they typically did together in person. For so many singers and performers, especially, the virtual experience, as opposed to harmonizing in person and being on stage with an audience, is just not as satisfying during this time of COVID isolation. 4 U.S. colleges, Haverford, Bryn Mawr, Swarthmore, and Hamilton, jointly commissioned the new work you just heard. And 100 singers from the colleges participated, including my oldest son, Will. That's how I got to see this. I believe his were the last pair of eyes you would see at the end of the video. The composer said that he started bringing the piece together first with the words, the lyrics that he had gotten from the phrases of the college students. He asked them all to complete the sentence, "1 year ago a day, I didn't know that." And he wove some of the students' phrases into the piece. And what did the students say they learned in the year 2020? They didn't talk about parties. They didn't talk about fraternities or finals or completing papers. They said things like, 1 year ago today, I didn't know that I could get by with so little. I didn't know that I would question everything, that I would hold his hand one last time. I did not know that I was strong, that I should have held you closer, that I could want to go so badly to a funeral. If you and I were together in the room right now, together in this sanctuary today, I would have paused right here and asked each of you to turn to the other one next to you in the pew and maybe share with each other what you learned this last year in 2020, a year that will live in infamy. 1 year ago today, what didn't you know? What did you learn about yourself this past year? Were you more resilient, more stronger than you thought? More of an extrovert or an introvert than you thought? Did you learn how long you could be alone without seeing anyone? Or for how long you could stand to stay in the house with and only see those you live with until you just had to bust out for a break, yes? I learned how to make salsa. Did you discover or learn any new skills? Perhaps for some of you, life didn't really change much, or you resisted change. You forged ahead, made it as normal as possible as you could. For some of you, it was a discipline to make each day matter or not be overwhelmed by the changes that the pandemic forced upon you. Well, here we are. It's a new year. Even though COVID infection rates are rising due to holiday shopping, and then we will soon see the results of holiday get-togethers and travel, hope is on the horizon. People have started to be vaccinated, and perhaps life will get back to some sort of normal or stasis again. There may be even an exciting new normal. May it be so. But most of us consider January 1st to be the start of the new year these days. That hasn't always been true. Some have thought March was the new year, some September. It's changed over time, but most of the world considers January 1st the new year, the turn of the new year, a time for resolutions and intentionally starting anew, giving ourselves another chance. As our first hymn said, the beginning is now, and there'll always be another train. On this threshold between 2020 and 2021, what are the lessons, the experiences, the new selves that we are to build our lives upon, that we will bring forward with us into this new year, this new beginning? 2020 wasn't all bad. There were new births, even in our First U family. People who survived operations that they were fearful about. New jobs, new houses, all sorts of things. There's the lessons, there's the good stuff, but I want to add another thing to the mix of what we will bring into 2021. So many of us want to live our lives without regrets. Yes, that's something we try to do. We want to avoid regrets. So I want to share with you some lessons from Bronnie Ware. Somewhere along the way, I came across references to the writings of Ware. She is now an Australian author, songwriter, and motivational speaker who, as a nurse, worked for 8 years with people receiving palliative care. Palliative care, I guess the shortest way to say it is the kind of medical care and support given to people to keep them as comfortable as possible near the end of life. Not as intrusive as it might be. Mitigate suffering. In 2009, Ware wrote an online article called Regrets of the Dying. And it was about this time in her life, because what would happen in those final days is Ware would have these raw, honest conversations with her patients about life and death and fears, regrets, what the patients wished they had done differently in their lives. This resulted actually in a popular book of the same title, but in it she highlighted the most common regrets. There were 5 recurring regrets that haunted many of the people she cared for. So what were they? Now, I could do a sermon on each of these, so I'm just going to go over them briefly. The most common regret she mentioned was this one. I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. Sometimes easier said than done. When people realize that their life is almost over and look back clearly on it, Ware shared, it is easy to see how many dreams have gone unfulfilled. Most people had not honored even a half of their dreams and had to die knowing that it was due to choices they had made or not made. Health and time brings a freedom or an apparent freedom very few realize until they no longer have it. So starting today, what is it that we need to shake off so that we have the courage to truly be ourselves? In this time that we have left, what are the dreams we might still accomplish? You know, I think it's so funny when I listen to people, what they've done over 2020. I don't know how many people have gone online and taken advantage of those master's classes, right, on now how to write a play or a novel or learn to knit or play guitar. It's never too late to learn something new. Among the most common, and given the when she was working as a nurse, among the most common, and for men in particular, was this regret. I wish I hadn't worked so hard. A lot of the men that she cared for felt they had spent too much of their lives on the treadmill of work, missing their children's youth and their partner's companionship, taking their partner's care and attention for granted. Women, especially of a certain generation, regretted not pursuing professions of their choosing. May we all find balance in our lives, seek simplicity as much as we can in our lives, find time for those who we care for, quality time, carve out moments in our day to reach out to those who make and have made such a difference in our lives. Again, I don't know this past year how many people have mentioned that they chose to make 2020 the year to call people they haven't talked to in ages, find people on Facebook who were old friends and family, people they hadn't spoken to for years, and how grateful they were for making those connections. I think of a friend who found her biological mother, and it goes on and on. Just after Christmas, my mother's side of the family, a couple of siblings and a cousin organized a Zoom reunion. It went on for a long time, but it was so wonderful to hear from all of my cousins, my aunts, my uncles, scattered around, what they were doing in their lives, what 2020 had meant for them. I think of my cousin, the introvert, who said, gosh, it was great. It wasn't so bad. Those who actually had chosen to get healthier. And now we're starting to make more connections, calling each other, keeping in touch. So, finding time for each other. Besides having the courage to truly be oneself, pursue one's dreams, many people wished they had the courage to express their true feelings. Ware said many people suppressed their feelings in order to keep peace with others. As a result, they settled for a mediocre existence and never became who they were truly capable of becoming. Many developed illnesses relating to the bitterness and resentment they carried as a result. So many of us are socialized to be polite, yes? To keep the peace, we think. But resentment can fester, bitterness can build. It affects our bodies, our peace of mind, our sleep, even the very relationships we are trying to protect. And sometimes the dam of feelings that we keep inside will just spill out of us in an angry, hurtful way when we weren't prepared and we never intended. Sometimes, if you share your true feelings right away, in the moment, you can prevent this buildup. Misunderstandings can be straightened up right away and not left to grow and become more complicated. Sometimes our mind creates more than what the situation really was. Perhaps in 2021, we can test the waters. If you find yourself in a situation where you would have stuffed your feelings and not said anything, test it, try it out. Let folks know you felt hurt or uncomfortable or thought a joke was inappropriate, whatever it is. Be daring, but thoughtful, yes? Share your feelings not out of spite, not to hurt, but to help and to mend, build the bridges again. Another regret identified by Ware was, I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends. How many of us have let old friendships, the golden friendships, slip by over the years? Ware heard many deep regrets about not giving friendships the time and effort that they deserved. Her patients wished, as they came to life's end, that they were more in touch with old friends. I mentioned that many folks have said that 2020 was a year that they found themselves reaching out again to people they hadn't spoken to for years. A couple of years ago, I went to my first high school reunion in like decades. I think I had only gone to one before, and reconnected with some old friends, but also learned how cool a lot of my high school friends and people I barely knew, how cool they were as adults, right? And through Facebook, I keep gaining more and more connections, and it's been lovely learning about their lives and how we've grown old and how much in common that we have. So time for our friends. It's never too late to rekindle a relationship. And the fifth most common regret that Ware mentions was, I wish that I had let myself be happier. What is it about society that we reward people for working themselves to the bones and suffering for the sake of others? Ware noted that many had not realized that happiness was a choice. And I want to say, it's a right. Go for it. Be happy. She says that many of her patients had stayed stuck in old patterns and habits. The so-called comfort of familiarity overflowed into their emotions as well as their physical lives. Fear of change had them pretending to others and to themselves that they were content, when deep within they longed to laugh properly and have silliness in their lives again. Oh my gosh. And the beginning is now. Let 2021 be a time of silliness again. May it be so. May we enter this year with a deeper sense of ourselves, our limitations, and where we can push ourselves, with gratitude that we survived 2020. It feels that way, yes, that we survived. A deeper sense, if we can bring to this year, a deeper sense of who and what matters in our lives, and where and how we will choose to spend our precious time, energy, and resources. To strive to live each moment without regret, seeking amends and reconnection. In a sense, to be at home with ourselves. We've spent a lot of time at home, a lot of us. Let us be at home with ourselves. Love ourselves again and let that love spread outwards. I'll end with some of David White's poem, The House of Belonging. It just seemed so right for this period we've experienced. I awoke this morning in the gold light, turning this way and that, thinking for a moment it was one day like any other. But the veil had gone from my darkened heart, and I thought it must have been the quiet candlelight that filled my room. It must have been the first easy rhythm with which I breathed myself to sleep. It must have been the prayer I said, speaking to the otherness of the night. And I thought, this is the good day you could meet your love. This is the gray day someone else could die. This is the day you realize how easily the thread is broken between this world and the next. This is the bright home in which I live. This is where I ask my friends to come. This is where I want to love all the things it has taken me so long to learn to love. This is the temple of my adult aloneness, and I belong to that aloneness. I belong to that life, to my life. There is no house like the house of belonging. May you feel at home this year, at home with yourself, at ease and strong. May you love yourself and spread it to others and the world. The beginning is now. It always will be. Let us sing number 1037. We begin in love. A verse of the refrain will be played. Chris will read a verse, and then we will sing the refrain.
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
For remaining silent when a single voice would have made a difference.
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
For each time that our fears have made us rigid and inaccessible.
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
For each time that we have struck out in anger without just cause.
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
For each time that our greed has blinded us to the needs of others.
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
For the selfishness which sets us apart and alone.
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
For falling short of the admonitions of the Spirit.
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
For losing sight of our unity.
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
For those and for so many acts, both evident and subtle, which have fueled the illusion of separateness.
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
Now is the time in our service when we usually accept the offering. You may go to our website or contact our finance manager to find out how you can keep up your pledge or make a donation during these times. We give these gifts freely. We receive these gifts gratefully. We dedicate these gifts to the work of the congregation, serving human wholeness, caring for the planet, upholding religious freedom, welcoming the stranger, and loving one another.
Chris and Deirdre and Casey and Ellen and our technicians, Gareth and Julia and Fred. This morning, the music was beautiful. Before we extinguish the chalice, I read these words adapted from the Reverend Mark Bellatini. Live simply, at home in yourself. Be just in your word, just in deed. Remember the depth of your own compassion. Do not forget your power in the days of your powerlessness. Practice forbearance in all you do. Speak the truth or speak not. Take care of your body. Be good to it. It is a good gift. Crave peace for all peoples in this world, beginning with yourself. And as we depart, go with the dream of that peace set firm. We are ready, as we will be, to begin this new year again in love. May it be so.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, cool domaine, vie d'espoir et de justice, terre nourris-moi, ciel apporte-moi, source de vie, viens vers moi, viens vers moi.
Go in peace, go in joy, go in love, and may you have a blessed 2021.